This time on Scott's Garage, we're going to build a jewelry box. Hello and welcome to Scott's Garage. You know, it's like the first or second week of December, so we all start thinking about Christmas presents. Last time I was in Arizona helping out my dad and visiting with Carol, she mentioned kind of offhand that she would like a jewelry box. And I thought, you know, because I made several jewelry boxes, one for my mom and for Lily and a few other things like that. But I've never made Carol a jewelry box. And she said she wanted kind of a big one, like about a foot square. And so I came up with a design, and I'm going to draw it out here. And then we're going to go out in the shop and build it. And hopefully I can get it done maybe by the second or third week of December, so I can mail it off and then it can be there before Christmas arrives. So let's get started on that right now, and let's make a drawing for a jewelry box. All right, well, I do the title block and the border and stuff like that. It's a good time to talk about what this project is going to look like. So basically what I'm going to be doing is it's 12 inches wide, 10 inches deep, and 3 inches thick. So the basic, I'm going to have a bottom piece that will have a radius on it. And then I will have the center section, which I'm going to dovetail each of the four corners. And that'll be 3 inches thick. And then I'll have a lid on it with sort of an applique on the top. And I'm going to put some pink felt inside it. Kind of nice for a jewelry box. And then also put in some little removable or sliding trays for all the jewelry box items in there. So I'm going to make it out of black walnut and I think the lighter wood, because I wanted like a dark and a light wood. And so I think the darker wood is walnut, and what is it, alder, I think? I looked in Goodwood and I figured out that it was alder. So that should be pretty cool. And just kind of alternating the different parts of it between those two woods. And I think it should look pretty nice, especially like the end grain where the dovetails are. I think that will look pretty nice. right, so the first thing we did here is just the surround, the basic surround, just to kind of do a first step. But what we're going to do is the front, back, right side, left side. Then this is going to go on the top. I think the top is going to overhang the sides by probably 1/4 inch on each side. Have a round over hinge in the back, 2 of them, of course. The bottom is going to overhang a 1/2 inch on each side, so 1 inch total, with a round over all of it. You have to glue up the base, this surround, and the top all today. If we can glue all those up, we'll be in pretty good shape. This is the top surround. This is the top center. And we're going to need to do some math with this one. This is the base, and it's oversized, so we can cut it down a bit. All right, so I have the 3 basic parts to this. The center is going to go on the base, probably kind of like this. I don't think it's going to fit very well there, no. It'll go like that. But I need to figure out how big to make the base. I want to put a radius on here, and I need to figure out what spacing I need for that radius. So I'm going to set up my router table with a round over bit in it. I'm going to cut a sample, and I'm going to measure how much I need to leave. And then we'll probably do like some fun with math. And the same thing with this. I need to figure out what size to make this, cut it as square as I can, and then cut these into like a 45. So we have all that to do some filling, set up the router table. Let's go do that right now. now we have to start thinking about the hinges. So originally, I have a whole box of these hinges that I got. And originally, the hinges come like this. You can see that there's a little bit of a gap right there. What I want is I want it flat on the top, and I want the whole knuckle to go along one side. Why that is because I want the knuckle to go down below this because there's space, and then I want this part to be flat, so when it goes up against the lid, it sits flat. So what I did is I took these and I smashed this knuckle a little bit right here to make a flat on the bottom, and the whole knuckle is protruding above that. So we can take that and put that down, put that right here. Do the same thing with this. You can see flat on the bottom. So we're going to put this here. So what I decided to do is go 1 inch and 3/4. That does not look right. I don't know what that is here. 1 inch and 3/4 right here. So rather than make like 3 equal spaces, and I think that's better than having 3 equal spaces. I think it would look kind of funny. I think it's better if it's like that. So now what we want to do is we want to relieve this here, and I'm not sure how to do that. Alright, we can take this off. What this is a lid stop. So just a little block of wood here. So when the lid opens, it contacts there, and it'll prop the lid open just at the right angle, I hope. You need to take these off and clear coat them. I used the router to just route this out by hand. I think it did pretty good. And drilled a couple of holes for the interaction of the lock. And then I started off drilling this in the drill press, and then came back with the chisel and kind of cleaned it up a little bit. I know it looks a little rough here, but it doesn't. It gets covered, so it doesn't need to be. And the other thing I did is I centered this nice appliqué, glued it on, and clamped it down just for a short period of time. But that's not going anywhere. So this is really all sanded and ready for finish. Next is I'm going to start working on the inside of the box, and I'll show you what we're going to do in just a minute. My idea for the inside of the box is this is 3 inches, so I'm going to create a little bit of a step by putting a piece of wood here around that's about 1.5 inches, just about half, all the way around, just maybe 1/4 inch, or I don't know, 3/16 or something thick. It doesn't have to be too thick. And what that's going to do is I'm going to create some, I don't know what you'd call them, containers like two rectangular containers that will fit on top and will rest on that little step. And I'm going to put some pink felt in the bottom here, and maybe a divider right here. And then we'll create a couple of containers here with little boxes for different little jewelry things. So, okay, so I have the lid put on with just a couple of screws just to hold it in place. And what I'm testing is this stop back here. So that's just about perfect. I'm going to put a couple bumpers here, and I think I'm going to put them in the lid. So let's mark where those are going to go, and then I'm going to drill some little reliefs because this is really flat. And so there's not a big gap here in between the lid and the base. And so I want to maintain that. So what I want to do is kind of recess a little felt bumper there. Okay, so if I had these little felt bumpers here and I just stuck it on here, it's going to raise the lid up by the thickness of that. And I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do is find a place here to drill like a counter bore, probably with my brad point bits, and then inset them in the lid a little bit. So when it comes down, I guess what I could do is could I just position these like right where I want them, right there, and maybe right here with the sticky side up. I think that's pretty good. That way I don't have to like figure out where they're located. It's just right here. Down, and there you go. And if we look at our gap, see our gap's too big. I don't like that. I want to inset that a little bit. So I'm just going to draw a circle around this. All right, so I've got a drill bit that's approximately the same diameter as these little bumpers. I put a little tag on there because I just want to do it just that deep, maybe about half the depth of those things. But this is basically ready for finish. I think looks pretty good. Ow! Jesus. That really hurt. We're making some progress here. Okay, so I got the cutout for the bases of the two upper sections. That's these two. Then we glued in this. This is still gluing. So we can kind of put this aside. These two. And I'm going to use stir sticks. I don't know how that's going to work. Paint stir sticks, they're free. Maybe do one with like just two sections and then one with a whole bunch of little boxes. How about that? On second thought, I think I'd rather use this. This is 1/4 by 1.25 inch, hecho in Mexico. No, it's just a little bit thicker, and the stir sticks are a little bit flimsy. But the problem is, that's all I have. So I'm gonna have to go to Home Depot and get more. Look at my face. My name is Mata Bam. You know, Courtney Love, for all the people that hate her, for probably good reason, she made some banger of songs, you know? Makeup. Witch on wheels. All right, so now it's just a process of sanding everything because everything's all done. This one is ready for stain and finish. I got a little bit of sanding to do on all of these. And then I'm just going to do a 209 Min-Wax natural stain. And after that dries for a couple of days, I'm just going to do a gloss poly. And that will be it. And then this project will be done. So a little bit of work left to do, but we're kind of on the home stretch. Old rag here. And we'll see how this looks. Should just be a clear, natural. Shouldn't be a very deep color. But it should bring out the grain. Yeah, look at that. That looks great. Perfect. Nice. I like it. All right, now the last thing for these trays is to put some of this felt in there. So we just kind of measure it out and make sure it's the right size. What I like to do is do this kind of thing, fold it over, then just kind of work it in here. It's a little bit fiddly, but then what you can do is you can put a little mark and cut it to size. And sometimes what I like to do is just kind of use a ruler, kind of get it down into there, or your fingernail, kind of smooth it around a little bit, and we're done. Tray is done. The other one's all done over there too. So we're good to go. All right, well, we are getting down to the end of this project. A couple of coats of finish on all the pieces, and they've been sitting here drying for about a day, day and a half. So we have the lid, the main body, and we have our little inserts. So right now, let's just do some assembly, and we'll finish this thing up. Okay, so I think the first thing we're going to do is assemble the lock. And once I get this all organized, we are going to have to pack this up and ship it to Arizona. So I don't know how that's going to work, but we're going to give it a try. I was kind of worried about that. These brass screws are really soft and this walnut is hard. These ones over here went into the alder, which is a lot softer. But and these two were okay, and these two broke off, and so I've got to try to get those out of there. Okay, so you have the drill, and then with this set you have the drill and then the corresponding easy out. And what it does is you screw it counterclockwise and it grips in there, and you can pull it out. I got it. Well, I think that just about does it for this project. Got all the hinges and screws in there nicely after a couple of small issues. I think we did some really good work here. I'm really happy with the way this came out, and hopefully you enjoyed watching it, and we'll see you next time on Scott's Garage. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.